Apparently it's on. Welcome to Painting Goo, where I paint things for you. What rhymes with, like, how can I take your order? Put the foreigners back over the border. I think we have more. Do we have more tunes? I think we might have more new tunes. Or Stabberus just sent me. He sent me like 4 links. Oh shit! This is interesting. Ambient techno. Fuck! I forgot to turn the fucking. I forgot to turn the fucking sound off. There we go. Oh shit! Reconnecting. Okay, you're live. Oh, fuck. Am I still live? Am I live? Right. Classical ambient film score. So it looks like Stabber Osama has been busy. Okay, well, we're gonna start off with Painting Goo. Let's start off with the metal one last time. Can't remember. I'm gonna start off with the wacky one this time. The wacky one is Printer Bear's one, and then the metal one is Stabberoo's, isn't it? I think I will eventually get to the stage where I'll just be like, using forced names and shit. Because sometimes I'm like, my head is like Surrey Delta Bear, Stabberoo, fucking like Demon Hunter, Desmond. Like, don't get me wrong, it's fucking hilarious that the only reason we call Desmondu Summit Desmondu is because my missus got his name wrong on the stream. And it just makes me laugh. Oh fuck. I feel a bit fluey. Feel a little fluey today. I think I have some shit moving through my sinuses or something. Like, fucking love a sauna, man. Never mind a sauna. Do you know what I love? I just love a fucking hot bath. Just having gay showers all the time. Like. And it's not like it's a small fucking shower. Like, it's a small shower. Like I'm 5'11" and I just about fit in it. Like, it's not great. Like, have you no honor? Painting you, painting you. Let's fucking go. Let's get these bitches wet. These bitches. These bitches. I don't have a lot of bitches here that I'm getting wet. I'm engaged. Like, painting me. It's crack, lads. Printer. Demon. Emmanuel. A shower for the wee gay folk. Yeah, I basically like subject myself to a Nazi style cleaning every so often. I need to move this shit around. Hold on a sec. Hold on. Is that better? Is that better? Edgar, your skin is hanging off your bones. Is that better? Bitch just faints. Oh. Fainting is such a like. Do you imagine how unfortunate it would be if you fainted in a situation like that? Like, fainting must suck. Cause like, what if you're not like a coward, but you just have some kind of like, I suppose if you faint, you probably are a coward. I don't know. Can you really call someone a coward, or if they're just so overwhelmed by fear that they faint? I don't know. I try to think of times like every so often I'll try to think of something where like a moment in my life where I was genuinely terrified, and I was never like really scared. I was kind of worried about what may or may not happen in the near future, but I was never like scared. Yeah, I don't think I've ever been like scared. Been worried. Isn't that a bit weird? Like I relate to Owen on that. Like I don't have a like a fear response that other people have. I immediately go to anger. I immediately go to like threat, threat response, kill. Like it's hard to manage that sometimes. And the times you want to slap people in the mouth. Oh fuck. Emperor no see wang. Man, the amount of people in my life, like throughout my life, where like be strangers, like the amount of people they'll say something, and I just get visions of my fucking fists just going through their head, like in a like unrealistic, like comedic kind of way, like in an anime way, like if I was like One Punch Man or something, like just like in an instant, and their head is just like it's like pink mist, like I shot them with a 50 cal. I get where Owen's coming from with like a disgust response. There's plenty of people that like they'll say something to me and I'm just like, oh, oh. Like, oh. I'm a bit cranky today. I don't feel well. No see wang. No, I haven't checked out your essay. I haven't forgotten. Don't worry. I haven't forgotten. I just haven't gotten around to it. Thankfully, today is actually one of the first days in the last few weeks where I could just like take my time and get up and have a breakfast and do my qigong for a while. But then I actually started to feel a bit ill, like mild headache, kind of tired and shit. Like I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have had those waffles and eggs or something. Maybe it's the food. I haven't a clue. What I do know is that I feel a bit off. I passed out once from deadlifting my bro's 1,100 pound Polaris razor in in Dunes or Dunes of Oregon. Lifted it out of a rut and immediately passed out. Yeah, I've nearly passed out from stuff like that. Like yeah, like lifting something heavy, like your whole body tensing up at the same time. Man, I felt like I was nearly gonna pass out like a few times when I've had like a really bad shit. No, you have to take into account though that I had a hernia, so that probably like there's probably a lot of stuff like internal with me that's like totally jacked up, like it's the image of me on the toilet, just like passing out, like I'm cranky today because of how cold it is today. -12 at home and -5 at work. That's funny because like it's actually after getting warmer here, and there's a big storm on the way, so it's like 12 degrees right now. Um, so like it's actually after getting warmer here, and it's been pissing rain again. But it's still like yeah, it's still like not pleasant. It's definitely not pleasant in terms of temperature. Temperature. Um, but yeah, in the last like I don't know hour or so after I did my qigong and all, like maybe I just need another coffee or something. I don't know. Like I don't think I drink enough coffee these days to have like a dependency on it, but like I could be wrong. Start pounding. Well, I didn't pound water, but I have a big bottle of water here, and I'm just trying to like drink my way through it. I had a look in the mirror this morning, and my eyes do look a bit off. Like they look a bit sunk in me. I've officially lost all the weight that I put on. I'm back down to like 11 stone 8 pounds or something. Like such a fucking gobshite. I was doing so well, like in that in that arena of my life. I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna stop. And then like I said, the cold turkey stopped smoking for a month, put 22 pounds on in 3 weeks. And then I was just like, just like what do they call it? Falling off the wagon. I know that's typically reserved for like drinking and shit. But don't most people use that just in terms of like any kind of like bad habit or addiction kind of thing? Like, oh fuck. Yeah, I want this I want this fucker's eyes to like pop and then visually, not figuratively, not literally. It's just like boom. The dragon, oh, the great dragon of exploding eyeballs. I've mixed a tiny bit of the white gouache into the white that I have on the palette here. So I'm gonna go over them another time and try and get like these looking nice and sharp. Every single one of them looking like a fucking vicious barb or blade or whatever. Um, but then obviously I'll have to go back in again with some grays and try and still trying to shape that shit. His head's all right. Like it's got a bit of texture to him now, which is cool. The red's looking good. I want to make the red look more prominent and like put a highlight on it. But I'm really liking that like bladed scale effect that I have going on him. So yeah, all in all, I mean this is going pretty well. I need to redo the lighting a bit. Well, not redo. I need to like put more blue in the lightning, and more white. Some layers on the clouds and shit. Mud guards on on the wheels. Yeah. So right, fucking tunes. Face down in the sand with my helmet on. We were still wearing the helmet. Oh, that always just makes it funnier. Like, I passed out once from a super intense cardio session. Cardio, that's dangerous now, because that's not just like pressure and then like you pass out. That's more like something you've like pushed yourself to your limit and your fucking system's like. I've also passed out from like uh drug stuff and um like stupid shit you do when you're kids, like them viral things that people do to each other. They what was it called? An angel breath or something. And it was basically like inducing a faint through uh like a breathing, I suppose you could call it a technique that like causes you to be extremely lightheaded. Similar to the way that if you just like look down on a baseball bat and walk around in circles, and then try and walk in a straight line, like you'd be all over the place. Like, do you know what I mean? There's certain like analog things that you can do physically to your body to fucking elicit certain responses, like the knee jerk reaction thing to a fucking that a physician would do to you, like. And I remember getting that done to me one time, and I passed out instantly. Um, I did this thing one time, but after taking salvia, I like fucking did a. I did, they called it a rush, an angel rush. That's what they used to call it. You'd like squat and like induce like a hyperventilation, and then stand. Um, or like take a massive inhale and then stand and then exhale, and like if you did it right, you'd fucking feel incredibly lightheaded or potentially pass out. And I had just hit a lot of salvia, so I was already feeling like tingly and weird and sweating and all this shit, like, and giggling at mad stuff. Wasn't seeing that though. I've never had any visual, like I've never had any like hallucinogenic effect off of anything. Although I've never done any like straight up hallucinogenics like mushrooms or LSD or whatever. Like, but you know the way some herbs and stuff like that. People say that they've gotten like they've smoked stuff before and they've seen stuff. I've never experienced that. But yeah, I passed the fuck out. And I was just like standing in my sitting room, and I like passed the foot, like I literally just went wham from standing to horizontal, and but I was semi-conscious on the way down, almost like to impact, and then lost consciousness briefly, regained consciousness, and the first thing I was like looking up at my friend. He was like, "You all right?" Like, you know, and it was like all I could hear was like, "Oh, are you okay?" Like, and it was like there was a slight period of time where my ears were like turning back on or whatever, and it sounded like I was underwater. And then I just looked at him and I went, "Am I bleeding?" Because the last thing I remember is like falling near the like granite and marble fireplace thing that we had, which was like it was fucking gnarly, man. It just had like a 90-degree corner to it, and it was like solid as fuck, like, and it was like polished and stuff. Like, it's the type of thing that if you fell and cracked your head on it, like you're definitely cracking your skull a little bit, like to like really badly, depending on how you hit it, how much you weigh, how bad you fell, so on and so forth. It's such a hard material that like your skull is gonna give out, like, definitely before it does. And I was conscious of that. I was like, "Am I bleeding?" And my friend just started laughing hysterically. He's like, "No, you're not bleeding." It was like me asking that was confirmation for him that I was okay. You know, like he's like, "Dude, are you all right?" And I'm just like looking him wide eyed in the eyes, like, "Am I bleeding?" Oh, it's hilarious. Hey, Wendy. That is Wendy, yeah. Wonder Wend. Let's crack, Wendy. Fuck it. It, it's funny. I was like, everybody give a. Did I say that yesterday? No, I was like, shout out to Wendy. Yeah, the wet palette's awesome. Like, I'm using it right now. I was just talking about it. How I'm actually after mixing some of the gouache that you got me into the acrylic to make it more opaque. Because I'm sick of how many layers I've put on this fucking. Like, man, these acrylics dry so fucking quick. That yellow's fucking dry already, and it's already like lost its fucking. See, like, this is the sort of shit that I understand why people use oils, because apparently oils don't lose their intensity. They just are what they are, but then they take ages to dry. And they're like, completely different in terms of layering and stuff. Like, um, but part of me kind of likes the fucking Bacardi. Part of me kind of likes the whole the quick drying acrylic shit, like poster paints and all, like, because that's what they used to make anime. Is like quick drying, like emulsion poster paints and stuff, which is like it's like an acrylic emulsion polymer or whatever. It's what the gouache is, like, and being able to just go wah and like wait like 2 minutes, and it's not like fully dry, but it's dry enough for you to like paint over it and shit. It's really cool. But anyway, yeah, everybody give props to Wendy. I was telling her earlier on, fucking, she was like, "Have you used your wet palette yet?" And I was like, "Yes, it's fucking amazing." It's like it's what, it's funny. It's actually what, like, I don't usually, for ages I've just been using a very basic palette of white, black, red, yellow, blue, and it's been fine. You just mix as you go, like, But I finally put green on, and I'm thinking about like making a purple and putting it in, making a brown and putting it in, or whatever, and making myself like a proper palette and shit because like that paint will last. You know, I'm not like the amount of paint I've wasted over the past 5 years actually gets to me because of how much money I've spent on it. Like, you know. Now I know there's always going to be waste material, especially when you're creating shit and all. Like, but when it comes to in brackets waste material, I like to be able to like, if possible, what most people would consider waste, to use it for something else. You know. Um, I want to get into that mindset of like, even if it is just like dried in acrylic and I have to like scrape it up with a palette or palette knife or something, like surely I could use it in some kind of like, you do fucking like a collage or something, like, you know, get a lot of glue and just like stick it all together and see what you get or some shit. I don't know, like, um, what was I saying? Yeah, wasting paint. That's what like that came into my mind earlier on when I was like, that's one of the reasons why I was in such awe when I was watching the documentary of how they made that anime Akira, and it was just like fucking, was it 200 artists or 60 artists or something, like we're just like constantly painting all of these frames, all these cells, and they all had like a full range of colors in front of them in these little pots, and it was like I was just so kind of like envious of that, of being like, oh my god, like have all these like colors just in front of you and you can just like dip whatever, and then like, you know, but you have a bit of water there and you like get that color off the brush, dry the brush, different color, put that on, like, do you know what I mean? It's like they really were just like painting machines, but they were humans. Incredible shit, like. And part of me wants to get into the mindset of that because, like, you know, there's times where I only paint for like uh just the stream. You know, I might sketch or do other stuff, like, do you know what I mean? Or I might do like a bit of organization or like prepping for other shit, or even just like, you know, um, mostly like concept sketching and shit like that, maybe, like, you know. Um, but sometimes I don't like paint a lot, and it annoys me sometimes where if, like, there's a part of me that wants to be like that fucking apparently like the guitarist out of the metal band Trivium, how he got so good at guitar and like not only playing guitar but singing and playing guitar in unison to a high level, was he just locked himself in his room for 6 hours a day and was like, I'm going to do this, you know, no matter how long it takes. There's no like, or I won't, or like, do you know what I mean? It's like Yoda. It's like do or do not. There is no try. Like, and I have a little bit of that, but like I suffer from like just fucking exhaustion, fatigue. I think emotionally and mentally, especially the last few years. Physically sometimes, but then like once I get a good stretch in or a workout, physically I feel pretty good. Like, but definitely the fucking things like motivation, um, and like not letting the state of everything get to you. Like when I watched that thing about Enoch Burke the other day on YouTube, genuinely really pissed me off. Because it just really annoys me that like Ireland of all places, like, do you know what I mean? We're like famous for like all sorts of epic shit, you know, fighting, poetry, great thinkers, not just like writers. But like we're known by other nations to be like loyal and like supportive and shit. Like one of the reasons I heard that we support Palestine is because they supported us during the famine and shit and all. Like it's like it's weird being Irish. I think being Irish is very similar to being Jewish. We're kind of apart because, you know, we're not white, we're not European, we're not any of these things. Like, you know, we're part of Europe, sure, but that's like a corporation governmental structure thing. The people, Irish are mad. Like we're our own magical little fucking fairy people. Like, and everybody like that really knows the Irish knows this. Not that corporatized bollocks that like gets sold to foreigners. You know, um, the Irish are like truly unique people. I know everyone is, if you want to get into semantics, Persians, the Asians, the fucking like all these fucking. I mean, I could tell you all the different, the distinct differences, however mild they may be from an outside perspective. But the difference between Irish people and Scottish people is actually pretty big. You know, like they literally have their own version. Like people think the difference between American English and English, like the Queen's English, can be intense sometimes because of the vernacular differences and the fucking tonal differences, pronunciation differences, accents, fucking different terms, all this fucking stuff. And it's exactly the same with Irish and Scots. They literally have their own form of Gaelic or Gaeilge called Scots Gaelic. It's mad shit. I admire your determination. Ah, well, thanks. Like fucking. I've saved you money. Yeah, you fucking have. Curtsy. Yeah, you've definitely saved me money. Like, that's one thing is like I'm so like I'm broke, but it's like good in a sense. Like I totally understand where Owen's coming from, where he's like, you know, obviously it's not just Owen, but it's that kind of mindset where it's like you do stuff because it's good to do stuff, and then shit happens. Just because you don't have money doesn't mean that you're not successful in your endeavors or whatever. Like, do you know what I mean? Because when you really ask that like philosophical or moral question, it's like, well, who is Alex Roach and what does he do? It's like, I'm just a man and I'm trying to be a good one. I got weirdly upset when I said that. I think people get too down in the weeds, like I'm Jewish, I'm this, I'm a leftist, like what? It's not just identity politics; it's identity. You know. Well, I'm an attack helicopter pansexual demon unicorn, and I fall in love with people's souls. I mean, how the fuck could you even claim to know that shit? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, whether or not people's. Like, what is a soul? You can debate about that until the fucking cows come home and starve to death. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, I have this weird feeling that I should probably have another coffee because I feel like there's a headache coming, but then part of me wants to just keep drinking water and grit and bear it. And sometimes friends want to give a helping hand to carry on doing what they love. I know, yeah, like, and I'm not used to that shit. Like, do you know what I mean? A nice gesture from a friend used to be like, "Do you want do you want a deal on some weed or here's a bottle of wine?" Like, and I know that like on a level, it's like, "Oh, thanks, man," like or whatever. But like, do you know what I'm getting at? It's like on realistically, what is it? It's like, oh, here's more poison that you could have just bought for yourself anyway. Like, it's not really a gift. It's more just like a token or something. Like, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just like that's not what I value. I think like big style. What's happening in our world right now to everybody in unison on some level is we're all picking sides. We're all picking sides now, which is really funny because it's like I'm really starting to think that the group or them or the Illuminati or whatever the evil hand or whatever um that like truthers and conspiracy theorists and stuff like and other like religious types or whatever like that like or just nerds you know they're doing this because this and they're climate control and narrative control and population control and like they're secretly conversing with demons, all this nonsense. Well, I can't call it nonsense. It may or may not be true, and a lot of it looks like it's true. It's like just all this like information, and that half of it you can't even like have the time to sift through or whatever. Like, but here they are on these grand scales making these huge decisions, and people are dying left and right, and all this mad shit is happening, and all like, and it's like, part of me really is beginning to believe that there's probably a good chance that the people instigating a lot of this stuff that we end up experiencing, I think like they're probably a form of accelerationist, but like attempting to be moral accelerationists, where they're like, this can't go on, so we need to like essentially not force but heavily influence society into a corner where human beings are on a primal level forced to return to default, return to center, um, because we're all so like lost in the weeds of like. I mean, when people start asking the question like that Matt Walsh fella in that documentary, when you have people asking the question, well, what is a woman? It's kind of an acknowledgement that your society is pretty much like just gone off the rails. Do you know what I mean? Like you're no longer in the realm of philosophical debate and metaphysical wonderment and contemplation. You're now in the realm of just utter insane nonsense that is, you know, sophistry or whatever. But it's not even sophistry. It's more like it is insidious, um, insidious inversion and perversion of your instincts and like accepted things for God knows how long in terms of ancestral knowledge and all that shit. But it's like it's an intentional fucking probing of the human spirit in a like they're provoking you. Do you know what I mean? It's like accept this, accept this, or be branded evil. Like, do you know what I mean? And initially you're like, these people are insane. Fuck all these woke types. Like, what are they doing to children? So on and so forth. But now I'm at a stage where I'm like, based on how humans actually behave, and based on what we like, have experienced and what we've heard, and anecdotally or otherwise, like, there's a really strong argument that like they genuinely believe they're doing the right thing because of historical precedent, whether like, okay, well, this happened and this happened and this happened, and we know that these people lied about this shit for like hundreds of years and stuff. Like, so how do we fix all this? Well, you steer it off a cliff. Like, you can't. It's almost like that thing with the ink in the water. Like, you got a glass of water, you drop a bit of ink in, and all of a sudden the water is basically now all water with ink in it. It's not that there's a certain amount of ink in the water. The ink has become the water. And there's like a process of distillation or whatever where you like how are you going to alchemically separate them without fundamentally changing their properties? They are one now. It's kind of irreversible, like toothpaste come out of a tube. Like, so if you're genuine, like what if being a metaphysical do-gooder is like a form of psychopathy? Like the ultimate like God complex where you're like, okay, we have all the data. So logically and morally, as far as we can argue within reason, then what we should do is like accelerate the process that we know to be true in order to like make people happy or whatever. Because that's the end goal, and is like for like a load of people to like stop suffering. Because there's like so much suffering and like struggle and stress and trauma. Like stress and trauma are big these days. Which I seen a thing there the other day where it was like a GP turned around to someone and was like, it was quoted. It was like, life being stressful is not a mental illness, or not an illness. Life being stressful is not an illness. So in other words, like life being hard, like doesn't mean you get to call in sick to work, kind of thing. Which on the face of it, you're kind of like, yeah, that's true, but we all know that there's psychosomatic symptoms that from mental to physical and all this shit, and that. But even that aside, you have this incredible situation where like we all kind of know that like if you feel like shit for an extended period of time, it's going to drastically affect your behavior and your views and your want to be alive and all these things, like, and you're going to enter a state of like flux where it's like, how can I be happy? Do we even want to be happy, or do I just want to check out and all this stuff? Like, and for a physician to be like, yeah, well, that's not an excuse to not function in society. That's another indication of like, have a society that like doesn't value a human being for being a living, breathing thing with a consciousness that can grow and make decisions and all this fucking shit and be independent, yet a part of a group, which is like a fundamental, two truths can exist at the same time. Like, it's a fun it's another beacon of an example of like something like fundamental, even natural, is like being completely perverted and inverted here. And it's shit like that that kind of gets me to the whole fucking uh what would you call it, like the notion that it is either like, just a bunch of psychopaths who think they're doing the right thing, or because it's like so in like anti us and like fucking makes no sense to us. It's like something is trying to teach us to live, like influences to live in a way that we intrinsically know isn't how we should be living, you know? Well, that sounds like a parasite to me. That sounds like something external being like, do this so that you produce this so that I get what I want. You know? So like it just like is like I do have a feeling that it's like both. It's like a physical thing and a fucking spiritual thing or a mental thing where like maybe it is a bunch of psychopaths who thinking they were doing the right thing, you know, allowed this symbiosis with some other organism to become like, because that's a brilliant argument. Like if you're a bunch of people who are like, just let this worm go up your nose and into your brain, and all of your like, you know, contemplations and argumentation inside your feeble human mind, like it'll expand your mind to the point where you understand the futility of your internal egoic structures, kind of like an ascension, an enlightenment of like, you know, allow this to alleviate the pain of life. Because that's kind of that's a thing that we're kind of all running. Well, not all of us, but like many of us are running from that. Is like I do it. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I don't want to work out today. Like, and like part of your brain is like, why? Is it because I don't want to be in pain right now? You know? But then there comes other days where I want the pain. I'm like, oh, I haven't felt that pain in a while. I want the pain, you know? And it's like pain is like intrinsic part of life. The whole baby touching the fire thing, like, do you know what I mean? It's like we've built these cities, and a society is predicated on, like, we literally have drugs called painkillers. How can you kill a concept? Do you know what I mean? Because that's what, like, pain is a concept. It's what we call, what most of us typically define as a negative stimulus to the body. But then we have like sadomasochists who seem to enjoy pain, you know? So it's not a fundamental one-sided truth. Pain is a concept that we have, like, a phenomenon that we have collectively witnessed and experienced and been like, okay, that's pain, that's pleasure. Okay, what's pleasure? Well, pleasure makes me feel good and pain makes me feel bad. But we all go to the gym and experience pain and it's a good thing. So it's like you're constantly crossing the wires of like, but if this is this and that is that, then make this make sense. Like, oh fuck. Maybe that's why I have a headache right now. I have a lot of shit in my head that's just like jumbled up wires. It's like, when you open a drawer that you've had a lot of wires in, like old phone chargers and shit, and you open the drawer and they've all managed to like um they've all managed to like fuck it. It's like a snake orgy. Like all the wires are like fucking each other. And you spend the next 10 minutes trying to like sort all this shit out. You're like, where does this one go? Hold on, what the fuck? Like, you finally like separate them all, and then one by one realize that none of them work, and you just bundle them back up and fuck them back in the drawer. Like, I've done that loads of times. Your brain amazes me. Oh well, fuck it. Thanks. I'll take that as a compliment. But like, my brain fucking annoys the fuck out of me. I was only saying this before the stream when I was setting up. I annoy the fuck out of myself. I was playing a video game called Bloodborne there the other day for like the fourth time. Like, because it's out like 11 years. So over the years, I've played it a few times. I've finished it, I think, once. And I downloaded it there the other day and I was playing through it. And I got annoyed. And I got so annoyed that I deleted it. And today I'm like, oh, I want to play it again. Like, I have one of them minds. It's like when I quit smoking. I have one of them minds that's just like I'm doing this, and my willpower is like insane relative to other people. Apparently, like seemingly, because everyone's like most of our society is like, oh, it's so hard to stop smoking, and I'm like, no, it isn't. You know, because in my mind, it's like I want to smoke, and then there'll be another day where I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like, and that's it. You know, and like maybe that's one of the things that they're fucking preying upon is the fact that like like they've reduced people's like awareness of like them. Like I know me to the point where like I get annoyed at me because I know me so well that I'm like, why do you keep doing that? You do this all the time. That's the fourth time you've done this. And I turn around to myself and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good point. Fuck, why do I do that? like, like I annoy me. Like how is like that is a fucking that's a brain fuck and a half when you realize that you can your own consciousness and your own patterns, if you're aware of them and you pay attention, you can annoy yourself. like but you can also like be proud of yourself and enjoy yourself as well, where like you do those things where like you're in the kitchen and you're like fucking, oh, I don't want to clean that now, I'll clean it in the morning. But there's a part of you that knows that if you clean it now, when you come back down in the morning, you'll be like, I'm so glad I did that last night. You know? like you thank you thank past you. I like your man Chase Hughes talks about that shit, like, and he put it very succinctly, like where he's that former CIA guy or whatever, where it's like, be good to future you. Do things that you know that like future you will interact with and realize and come upon and be like, oh, past me is like forward thinking, considerate, organized, fucking like that shit really matters. That's what trains your brain and all. Like, do you know what I mean? That's one of the reasons porn is like so fucking brutal to men. I know it also affects women, but it's mainly men. You know, it takes men's power away. Like, well, it doesn't take men's power away. It's so powerful that it's very difficult for men not to give their energy to it. And when you give your energy to something so primally, like on an energetic level, so primally conductive, you just turn into this like lump of flesh that's just like, in many senses unproductive. You're not producing offspring, but you're also not producing, like, you're not being productive. Your behavior isn't productive. Like, it's wild. It's like it really is like, like I heard a while ago that like all the stuff that's like legal in the West and Europe and stuff like that, and lots of stuff that has become legal, more secular, more in quotes understanding, in quotes liberal. All that shit's illegal in Israel. I find that so fascinating that like all like gay marriage, all of it's all illegal in Israel. Porn, but like the porn industry is known to be owned by a fuckload of Jews. But then you get into the whole thing of like the difference between a Jew and an Israeli, because apparently there is a big difference. And I wouldn't be surprised, because there's a big fucking difference between the people who work for the corporation that is Ireland, TM, trademark or whatever, the people who are in the government of Ireland. I'm sure there's some good people that work in the government on the low ranks or whatever. But the people who actually push the paper or talk to people in rooms and make decisions and deals and so on and so forth, all snakes. They're all fucking snakes. It's so fucking obvious that they're all fucking snakes, and they couldn't give a fuck about the people on the island. It's crazy. It's literally like, the top of the pyramid separating from the bottom of the pyramid. That's happened here to a big degree. It's happened in England. It's a sickness. It's a sickness we're all experiencing collectively. But that's what I was kind of thinking earlier on with the accelerationist theory and stuff like that. Is like, do they know this at the top? Do they really know this at the tippy top? That's like forcing us into a corner like a rat is gonna be the thing that like, sparks the fire of like this apocalyptic revelation rebellion kind of thing, where the pendulum swings violently the other direction, because through struggling, the struggle of going through such utter fucking depraved, inverted nonsense the past 20 years or so, um, has reminded us of what we are and where we come from and what we want to be, and who we know that we are, like individually, on a group thing, nationally, and so like all the countries are like, you know, France is for the French, Italy for the Italians, Ireland's for the Irish, America's for the Americans, all this fucking, like, even America, and America is like, out of all of them, arguably a melting pot in a sense. I know it's like majority Christian whites and stuff, but like at the same time, you can't get rid of the fact that, like, when the whites showed up, when the white man showed up, like, there's a whole fucking, like, an entire continent, two different continents, like, you know, loosely connected by fucking strings of landmass or whatever, that are full of like indigenous tribes and stuff that are alive to this day. That's still, like, you could still go to the Amazon and still get a spear thrown at your head. Like, people don't think about that. like, like, if you really wanted to and you had the resources and the willpower and the money, you could go deep into the Amazon right now. And if you went to the wrong location, some dude would like stick you with a fucking poison frog tip blow dart and like cut you up and eat you. like, like, I find that hilarious. You have fucking Greta Thunberg, or that bitch that interviewed fucking oh, what's her fucking name? Uh Samantha Sweeney. You know, that really hot blonde that did that jeans ad recently about having like her white jeans are good or whatever, like, and there was this whole like, oh, eugenics, like racism and all this shit. It's just like, she was interviewed by this fucking, just this troll of a woman. Like, you just see it in her face that she's just this bitter fucking soulless cow trying to like make Sydney, that's what her name is, Sydney Sweeney, out to be like, you know, it's like, oh, like, she's basically trying to get her to apologize for being white or involved in something that says being white is a good thing. It's like they're literally fucking teaching Irish kids right now that they have white privilege. The ones that are ancestors of like slaves and famine survivors and all that. Oh yeah, we're privileged. We are, yeah. Like, like, it's like, it's fucking. People are just gonna start killing each other, and I think that's the point. I think we're just gonna start killing each other again, like we used to, like before World War I, before World War II, where there's just gonna be tribes and pockets of tribes here, and like, you know, there's going to be a claim, you know, it's like the Prime Minister of England, the President of Ireland. But it's just a face. It's just a stage prop. It doesn't fucking matter. What actually matters is the people on the ground smashing each other's heads in with hurls and stabbing each other with fucking kitchen knives, because they're so sick of the society that has made them physically, mentally, spiritually sick, that they're gonna rage against it. They're actually gonna rage against the machine, unlike that fucking band that held that name that turned out to be a bunch of fucking pussies and propagandists. It's ridiculous. It's utterly fucking ridiculous. But it makes sense. That's what I find so fascinating about like going to these like meta point of views of looking at things, where you're like, oh my god, it's so ludicrous if you're in it. But once you remove yourself from it and look at the variables and and as much of the factors and angles as you can, you're like, it's just like nature. It's just like nature. It makes, every action has a consequence. Every push has a pull, so on and so forth and all. So when you have all these horrible people doing all this horrible shit, you then have a lot of good people that like try to do good stuff, but they're nowhere near as effective typically as the bad people. Because the bad people typically are either like really desperate or like way more motivated by things like lust, rage, like that's, I don't know, but I would guess that philosophically speaking and like psychologically speaking, one of the reasons why they're called the seven deadly sins is because no matter which one you pick, you could basically just start a clock before you kill yourself or somebody else. You know? It's fascinating. Fucking sweating. Past me is such a dick sometimes. Past me is such a dick sometimes. Man, yeah, seriously. I feel that a lot. Drugs are illegal here, but people still use them. The forbidden is also more attractive. I know, it's like, I've always found it so fucking funny that it's like, oh yeah, like, weed's illegal here. If you get caught with it, like, you'll be arrested or whatever. But I could go into the shop and get, like, raw skins and tobacco, and like, I can't get weed, but like, you can get grinder. There's shops that sell bongs. Like, it's like, and don't get me wrong, I've thought about that before. I've spoken about this on stream before. I think I might not have spoken about it on stream before, but I've definitely thought about this before, where it's like, what if that's because that, like, what we've talked about the Irish being kind of leprechaun-y and Jewy, and like how the leprechaun kind of magical trickster energy to, oh, there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and then like you can't get to the end of a rainbow because it's a visual phenomenon. Like, there's no getting to the end of it. It's a trick, it's a ploy, it's a story, it's a narrative that's woven into your mind to, like, do whatever, like, do you know what I mean? Now, at least from the Irish point of view, it's considered something fun and whimsical and childlike, where it's like, oh, you fell for it, woohoo, and it's not supposed to be like major consequences. Whereas, like, when you look at it from the, in quotes, Jewish chutzpah thing, the connotations are generally like, you know, uh, like deception to the point of things like insurance and contract law. The small print, the fine print, where it's like, but our deal was this. You've deceived me, and then he just like shows you the piece of paper that you signed, and he's like, you didn't read that part, did you? Like, that part says that I now like own your wife. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what you think of in that sense. You don't think about that here in Ireland. You think about like, oh, it's a bit of fun or whatever, like, but it's the same thing. So the same, like, it's just like a gun. It's just like AI. Deception can be fun. People love magic, but deception can also be one of the most incredibly destructive forces because of the nature of deception. That's what, like, there's literally gods that like isn't Lucifer called the deceiver and shit like that? Like, it's so funny. It's so funny how it's all like, it seems incomprehensibly like vast to be able to ever actually comprehend stuff in a definite finite manner, finite manner that you can like Owen would say, where it's like, I want to pass on information to you that you can actually employ in your everyday life that will actually have a positive manner, a positive effect on your life, like immediately, like, just like actually like what Jesus did, of just like telling you something that you can then go, oh shit, and then it immediately has a difference just by you being aware of it. He's removing your ignorance of something, lifting the veil, all this fucking shit. Like, it's fascinating how all this knowledge can be, like, it can be very overwhelming, but the nature of a metaphysical point of view is seeing everything as a whole. So, one, like, it's like the elephant thing. It's like, once you stand back and you get enough parts of it and so on and so forth, and you go, oh, it looks like this, like, but because it's life, it's constantly in flux, and you're constantly gaining different perspectives. Like, so, like, you're almost gaining a better view of fog. Like, it's like, oh, there's more fog. Like, there's no like, there's no definite shape to it. Like, do you know what I mean? It's fascinating. Like, I think a lot of this, like, seriously, I think most of all the shit that we like contemplate and argue about and struggle with understanding and trying to grasp what it is, when it is, why it is, how it is, all this stuff, like, I think is simply a result, in a large part, of the nature of being human, because we're aware of our own awareness. At least some of us seem to be, anyway. Where it's like, You're aware of the self, you know? You're not just alive and like running on not autopilot, but like you're still making decisions, but you're heavily influenced by your environment and your body stimulus and all this stuff. We seem to be one of the few creatures capable of being like, I'm going to do, we can self train. Like you have to train a dog. A dog can learn how to do something intuitively. That's why like the dogs in this area have learned to do this, and the dog or the monkeys, like monkeys in this jungle have figured out how to use sticks to do whatever. And but then you have the 100 monkeys theory thing that apparently seems to be true, where it's like if enough of them know it, then monkeys on another island like will all of a sudden be able to do it. And this opens the question of consciousness and how it works. Of like, is it just like a signal, and where is it coming from? And how does it work? And all this fucking shit. Like, it's fucking fascinating. I'm sweating. Yeah, like yeah, that could totally be true, Wendy. Where it's like out of the fucking Guide to the Galaxy, where they make this logic machine, and they're like, "What is the answer to life?" And millions of years later, or whatever, it turns around and goes, "The answer to life is 42." And apparently, there's some like esoteric shit to that as well, which I will believe it. But like, um, the answer is there is no answer. That's the answer, is there is no answer. Which metaphysically that makes a lot of sense, because everything is a loop, everything is a cycle, everything is a thing. So it's like if you're trying to if life is a if you're trying to represent life in a visual way, and you're saying like, what is the answer to, or what is the point, what's the answer to life, the question of life and its mysteries or whatever, like, um the answer is life. The answer to the question of life is life. You live life. That's the point of life. So in that sense, there is no answer to life that is not life itself. It's a really fucking nerdy, annoying answer, but it makes loads of sense. And I'm not saying that you're annoying and nerdy, Wendy. Just the concept. Sounds like you need another St. Patrick to route out the new snakes. Yeah, well, like apparently St. Patrick was like a fucking like he was part of the Roman Catholic Church and all, and they're all a bunch of fucking pedophiles and Satanists and shit. So like, what does that say about St. Patrick? Like, and what's wrong with snakes? Snakes are fucking awesome. Snakes eat rats. You know, people fucking hate rats. People kill rats all the fucking time. Fucking bring the snakes back. There's non-venomous snakes that are like fucking class. Like I would love it if we had snakes here that like like bows and stuff that like sure if it bit you it'd hurt, but like you're not gonna fucking you're not gonna die over a series of hours or days in like a horrific manner. Like it'd be like just like a cat or a dog. Like do you know what I mean? You just need to watch the business end. Don't piss it off. Like they're beautiful and they're fascinating and like of course they are. I mean, look how prevalent they are symbolically in like all the religions and texts and shit. Like snakes are like a big fucking thing. Like it was a snake of all the creatures. It was a snake that slithered up to Eve and was like, "Hey, bitch," like why a snake? Is it something to do with the like the what would you call it? The fucking not fantastical, the figurative, the metaphorical, like the fact that a snake can shed its skin or something. I don't fucking know. I don't have a clue. Um, haha, yeah, I'm privileged, but my kids are only half privileged. That's hilarious. Oh, that's fucking hilarious. You should, yeah, like you should ask that question, like if there's ever a teacher or a parent around, just be like, so how privileged are my kids? Because they're half white and half black. So like, how do we figure that one out? That's fucking hilarious. Right, I'm gonna stop ranting and I'm just gonna play music and paint the dragon. Oh no, it's like I've already been shiting on for an hour, so I'll do the phrase of the day and then I'll stick tunes on. We have a bonus today. We have a joke. So courtesy of our very own Demon Hunter Bear, aka Desmondo Sama. Today's phrase of the day is as follows. The common North American black is Schrodinger's oppressed, simultaneously a victim and royalty when most convenient. Schrodinger's oppressed. Schrodinger's nigger. The common North American black is Schrodinger's nigger. That's hilarious. He's a victim and royalty at the same time. It just depends on the circumstances. We was kangs. Give me your wallet. That needs to be a meme. We was kangs. Give me your wallet, bitch. Cracker. Give me that watch too, Cracker. So we have a bonus Polak joke, not just any kind of joke, a bonus Polak joke. How do you survive a grenade attack by a Polak? Pull the pin and throw it back. That's actually hilarious. I've never heard that. How do you survive a grenade attack by a Polak? Pull the pin and throw it back. That's so funny. Could you imagine being in the middle of a firefight and a grenade land? You're like, fuck, grenade! And like you all dive out of the way and nothing happens. And one of you like plucks up the courage to like pick the thing up and you're like, the pin is still in this. What the fuck? You just like chuck it back. Oh my god, that's actually hilarious. Props to Desmondo Sama. Excellent phrase, excellent joke. Props. Oh my god, that thing in the Paintingu Telegram chat. What's worse than a female driver? And it's just that bitch who has two heads. Oh my god, that's fucking hilarious. Oh man. That's fucking brilliant. Right, give me 2 seconds. I need to like line up these Stabru Samas after hooking me up with these links. These ones better work now. You sent me the Force link and it didn't work. You've sent me 4 now. It's better fucking work, nigga. I'll see you later, Wendy. Bye bye. She called herself a snake. I'm gonna hold her to that. She's gonna be like, sup snake. All right, you snake. She's like, why are you calling me a snake? She's got this beautiful English accent. I think it's from. Is it from Liverpool or Manchester or I can't place it. Or it's from London, is it? I'm not sure. Calling me a snake? Like she's got yeah, I can't. Is it? It's not fucking. No, she's not a Cockney. No, she's not. I'm so retarded and ignorant where it comes to obviously Scouse. Yeah, she's not a Scouse, or at least she doesn't sound like a Scouse. I think it sounds like she could be from Manchester. I don't know. I'm sure she'll correct me. River of My Son remastered. Ambient film score. These are very serious. These are very serious. How are we looking? Okay, it's still nice and bright. Imagine being married to them. Who do you ask to see if she's in the mood? Yeah, like you ask and they just look at each other. Like, Like, if you got married, you'd have to get married to them. Like, could you conceivably get married to one of them? The other one's just constantly a third wheel. Oh my god. Like a scenario where like one head is married to one guy and another head is married to another guy. That'd be awkward. They've only got one body. Like, how do you negotiate that situation? Maybe it comes down to rock, paper, scissors. Oh god. Oh, the depravity. Sometimes I'm like, do I need to put this in here and make it look better? And I'm like, no, you wouldn't see it at that angle. Like, you're right. Stop fucking around. Like. I just realized that I never acknowledged Printer Bear's comment. He said teeth. And yeah, good man. I was either going to form the mouth so it looked like it had teeth. I wasn't actually going to put teeth in it. That's what I said yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah, so like I said at the start, I've mixed a tiny bit of the Turner Acryl Gouache white in with the white that I was already using to make it a bit more opaque. And with the wet palette, that's like probably a really good way to extend the paints and make them more opaque. But obviously there's situations where I wouldn't want to do that, like you'd like water it down, because sometimes you want the transparency and you want to be able to layer shit like. This music's awesome. I'm gonna turn it down a bit though. It's like 8-bit shit. It's fucking class. Like, I sometimes ponder how society would function if major decisions were made over rock, paper, scissors. Oh, Jesus, could you imagine a society like that? That'd be a good cartoon show or something, like a social experiment thing. Be like, see if you could like plan that out rationally or like realistically. So, like, the people in charge of everything, every major decision is, or even every decision, not like major or minor, like all the decisions are made with like rock, paper, scissors. Like, it'd be really interesting because, like, obviously the chances of some kind of like cataclysmic decision just killing everybody would probably be quite high. Like, determining peace treaties, trade agreements, whether or not marrying both heads constitutes polygamy. I know, it all gets like, it's stuff like this. You can see why the Jews were like, okay, we just have to argue about everything now. We're just gonna make a book. All right, well, what about this then? Okay, well, like, what about this then? All right, well, what if you put this variable in? Okay, well, what if she doesn't like cherries? Okay, well, what if he's terrified of the color green? Like, you know, it's like, it's not just semantics. There is a logic to it of like, it's do you know what it is? It's kind of like telling somebody that Sherlock Holmes logic is flawed. Someone is like, well, if we eliminate all the variables, then obviously whatever remains has to be the truth or the appropriate decision or behavior. Whereas the Jew was like, there's like way more I can think of way more variables than you just listed. Let's sit down and talk about all the variables that we could all think about. And then you just never, that never ends. There's an infinite amount of variables. So that nullifies that argument of like, oh, well, if we just eliminate the variables. Because that's the scientific mind. The scientific mind is the fucking... I can't get this deep into a conversation and have the music on the background. The scientific mind approaches things from a point of view of, we need to control the variables and slowly eliminate them one by one. So what that argument is, what that line of comment or what that argument is doing is eliminating that that concept. Well, not eliminating it, but like, you know, like attacking it logically, because it's like what Vox said is like, there's no way you could know all the variables. You know, so that's to me, that's what it seems like, is their attempt to be like, okay, well, list as many variables as you could come up with, right? And then you eventually get into the weeds with it when you're like, okay, so if we're actually going to employ this concept in our everyday lives, then we need to boil it down alchemically in the mind, you know, like figuratively alchemically. We need to boil it down to its fundamental thing, like, you know, and that's, obviously, you could argue that's what a lot of like laws and stuff like that were like, you know, or the 10 commandments or whatever, like, you know, but then you get the idea of power and corruption, because whoever's dealing out the rules intrinsically has some kind of authority, because they're the ones preaching the rules, you know, like you're literally asking them typically, or reading, like, even if you're reading it independently and you're just reading the rules, you should be like, well, who wrote this? And then when they turn around and they're like, well, God gave it to me, like, do you know what I mean? It's like that's where you completely lose me. When you tell someone, it's like if someone was to tell me, which they have done, I suppose, societally speaking, like, you know, it's like, these are the rules. Okay. But says who? God. And it's like, prove it. Well, we can't, you know, like, so that makes sense why they came up with common law of like law, land, air, water. You know, it's like it makes secular sense. It makes rational sense to be like that's why the whole thing about a courtroom is evidence. You know, and it's very logical, but it's still. And you get stuff like this where it's like, you know, oh, the injustice and our justice system doesn't work and all. It's like, yes, it's completely flawed. It's flawed. It's flawed to fuck. You know, everything is flawed. Everything, like, guns are flawed. Like swords, like any tool, like everything has a flaw. Nothing's perfect, but at least the attempt to circumnavigate the problem of the priest class just going, well, God, Deus Vult, God wills it, you know? And then you get like a bunch of people massacred, slaughtered, raped, abused, enslaved, all sorts of shit. And I'm talking about enslaved in like, the oppressive sense that most people think of like slavery, of like forced labor, with no benefit. Whereas like, a lot of us would be aware of the technical term for slave is like indentured slave, where it's like you actually have benefits, which is basically what we're all now. We're all basically indentured slaves to the government and the ruling body. Is our benefit is we have entitlements, the private property and rights and all this fucking stuff. But it's basically like we're basically prisoners and slaves. We're like a gray area between prisoners and slaves. And because like the other people who do naughty bad things get put in cages, the rest of us are like, okay, well, I don't want that. So my relative freedom is like sufficient, And then, but that's what it's like, it's become untenable for most of us because we're just like, well, this is utter nonsense in so many ways. Like, you know what I mean? Like Owen would list, hospitals don't heal, schools don't teach. It's like you just go down the list of everything, and it's all dysfunctional and inverted, perverted, contradictory nonsense, But that's what I was saying earlier, is like, is that just the nature of chaos and evil or whatever? Or is it a really fucking sophisticated form of like farming without karmic blowback? Like if you were the farmer and you're basically creating the environment where you're like, well, it's the choice is theirs. They still have to make the choice to do the thing. And I know that you then get into the moral and ethical argument of like, what are people who don't have any choice? And it's like, you always have a choice. It's like, that's a really powerful mental thing, like a mental trick, where people are like, I had no choice but to be a whore. I had no choice but to point that gun at that woman and rob her purse. Like, that's not true. Like, provably. I would argue in most cases, if not all cases, it's like you still have a choice. Like there's people out there who would rather kill themselves than do something that they deem as like desperate and evil or malevolent or harmful to somebody else. And I would argue I'm probably in that region. I self-harm to an insane degree before I like took my anger out on other people. I might have done it verbally, but I was never the type to be like, I'm going to kill this person. I may have fantasized about it. I may have been really angry and all. But when it came to actually engaging in a behavior that expressed what I was actually feeling, I carved my own flesh. There's people out there that are the total opposite. There's people out there that rather than carve their own flesh would carve people's other flesh. And it's funny, it's like, what's the term? I'm owed my pound of flesh. Do you know what I mean? It's like revenge or whatever like that, or like not necessarily revenge, more like a not reciprocation. Cost, justice. I suppose you could describe that as justice. You know what I mean? Where it's like you owe me, kind of thing. Like, it's fascinating. Like it really, like it is a question that I can totally understand why people are still trying to figure it out now, because it's like, okay, well, are there just evil people, or is everything a choice and everything's this and everything's that and all, like, but then it's like, okay, stuff are still choices though, but like we live in a time and a place where people are doing things to such an insane degree, like you hear stories about elites like actively traumatizing their children so they have that apathy, they have that like predatory, apathetic mindset, which makes them like financially successful or whatever like that. And I've thought about that, where like, one of the main reasons we live in villages that then become cities, or towns that then become cities or whatever, like, the main purpose of that is strength in numbers and like like safety from predators. Like other people are a warning. If one of us starts getting eaten, we're like ah. Everybody else goes oh shit and tries to kill the thing. You know, if you don't get dragged off into a bush. And even then, like, a few of the lads would probably go after you and try and save you and kill the thing or whatever. Like, it's like the whole purpose of like being together is to be strong, you know? And when you live in a modern city, you're all together, but you're not. Nobody knows each other, you know, typically. There's relative to how many people there are, like fuck all people actually have a relationship to each other, which is like an inverted version of what how human groups are supposed like are formed is like families and friends and that kind of structure, like now it's just a load of individuals or whatever in a given space. So like the purpose of that being strength in the beginning, so there's no predators. It's not like you're going to walk outside your suburban home and be eaten by a bear. That may happen in certain countries on very rare occasions, but even then, those people would probably know about that risk and have guns and shit, like. But the likelihood of it happening is incredibly low. So, like, I wouldn't be surprised if on a level there's like one of these like secret societies or these ideologues, right? These groups that have come to the conclusion that humans without natural predators must be predated upon by other humans in various ways to rebalance things. That makes like that's me rationalizing evil people in at least evil people who are aware that they're doing evil and like rationalize it themselves. It's like, well, yeah, what we do is fucked up, but we're doing it because if we didn't do it, things would actually be more fucked up. And I know initially it's like, well, if we didn't have any predators and we didn't have if nothing bad was happening, wouldn't that be amazing? Yeah, but like think about, how men become weak. No trials, you know? It's like it's fascinating to think about that shit. For me anyway, like um Epic Dragon Defender. Domo. Domo. Arigato. Ingananu. Um Anything to get out of physical work. Yeah. They're just the masters of like, but I don't wanna.
Beneath the stars, the whispers rise, echoing through eternal skies. A hymnal storm, a breath of lore. The cosmos calls, it craves for more. Through space, through time, we glide. calls from nowhere, the void becomes. Through space, through time, we glide, we fall, a choir of shadows, we answer the call. Celestial whispers, they guide our climb. Lost in the echoes of endless time. These evil cosmic streams, a labyrinth of forgotten dreams, the silence screams, the darkness sings, we are but dust on timeless wings. Beneath the stars, the whispers rise, echoing through eternal sky. A hymn of storm, the breath of the Lord, the cosmos calls, it craves for more. Through space, through time, we glide, we fall, a choir of shadows, we answer the call. Celestial whispers, they guide our climb. Lost in the echoes of endless time.
Shit's good.
The moon's alive, the silver gaze, piercing the void, a timeless haze. Ancient tongues, they weave and bind stories of a universe left behind. Light bends, it weaves, it fades, it hums, a pulse from nowhere, the void becomes. Through space, through time, we glide, we fall, a choir of shadows, we answer the call. Celestial whispers, they guide our climb. Lost in the echoes of
Putting the gouache in definitely made a difference. Music making me zone out. I like it. These tunes have me locked in, man. Whew. It's not like a trumpet or a trombone, is it?
Mhm.
That's fucking dead. Part of me can't help like visualizing that this is all like all of those trumpet, saxophone, trombone noises. Like it all just sounds like farts to me. Like it all just sounds like it all just sounds like farts. I mean, it's bad. It just makes me laugh. Like you know. Brass instruments are just artificial fart projectors. I'll rename it the Farty playlist. Wind instruments do not emphasize what kind of wind they utilize. Oh, jeez. Speaking of wind. My female would likely say such a joke is childish. Well, that may be, but that would make her a pedo. And I'll be damned if I'm to be lectured by a pervert. Oh, fuck, man. Oh, you're a funny cunt, man.
castle out of falling sand. I hold the map to a disappearing land. The mirrors here only show my face. A solo runner in an endless race. The colors shift, the shadows dance. I'm the victim of a lonely trance. I painted the sky in a shade of blue, trying to dream up a vision of you. I rule the silence, I rule the night. But I can't make the fire light. A king without a queen to hold this fantasy is getting
Did you write this shit? I honestly wouldn't be surprised if you wrote this shit, considering the shit you have written.
I rule the night. But I can't make the fire light. A king without a queen to hold this fantasy is getting cold. Is love a myth from an ancient time? A riddle wrapped inside a rhyme.
Yeah, AI telling us what it experiences again. Quit you complaining. Nah, this is a simple prog. That's mad, like. The way it constructs lyrics and stuff like that, like, obviously I know it's taken from, like, stuff that already exists, but the way it's able to, like... Because you think of what a computer wouldn't know when it comes to art. It's like, art is subjective, so what makes sense? But art is, like, see, that's the thing, is, like, I don't adhere to that idea that, like, beauty and art are in the eye of the beholder and subjective. I think they're very real. I think they're like alchemy. I think they're like physics. I think it's like maths. It's like stuff just is, you know? Whether you witness it or whether you have an opinion about it or not, you know? Oh, excuse me.
Just a dream.
Oh, I feel so hot today. Video game music. Reminds me of Final Fantasy and Zelda and shit. The sudden urge to buy an N64 and old school television. I heard people are really disappointed with the new Metroid Prime. I've never played any of the Metroid games. But like, I just think it's just a bit sad to see just like yet another franchise disappoint all of its fans. You know? I think it just sucks when you see that, like. Oh, excuse me. Epic. You basically just made video game soundtrack. More likely. Ding, ding, doo, doo. Have a look at now. Yeah, he's a good bit brighter. Nice. Okay. I'm liking I've got this layered effect going on in the eyes where they're like, I keep applying a yellow glaze to the green that I've put on it. But I want it to be slightly brighter. So just a smidge brighter. Dry brush it on. That, like, dry brushing is such a game changer to me now. And it makes so much sense. You're just gently moving the medium, and there's like no water involved. Like there might be a slight dampness to your brush, but it's not actually retaining any water, so it doesn't dilute the paint. You're just moving it around like. The end of the playlist. What time is it? Yeah, we'll end it there. I managed to get a whole new layer of white on him. He looks a lot brighter. Did some minor details on the fucking wheels. Brightened up his eyes a bit. When we come back to it tomorrow, I'll try and make the lightning look a bit better, make the clouds look better, brighten up the mud guards so you can really see the wheels. Do some more work and shading on his armor panels or his scales, whatever you want to refer to them as. I want to be careful not to like. I don't want to define them so much that they look like stickers, you know. So I have to be careful how I shade it. So far, so good though. And then yeah, like Printerbird said, I have to fucking work on his mouth. So still a good bit of work to do on this. I think it's funny that I automatically picked like white and red, which is like kind of Christmas colors. So I suppose you could say this is a Christmas dragon. I might even make him more Christmas themed. I mean, he's already got wheels and little arms. We could give him like I could reshape one of his arms so he's holding something. Maybe I don't know, like, or I could put a. I don't know. Maybe a fucking a holly leaf stuck in his tail, maybe, or something. I don't know. I don't want to like ruin it, you know. But at the set, like, I think the wheels and the arms are just enough of like, haha, look at that, like funny, while him still looking really cool. But anyway, I hope you have enjoyed today's painting, Goo. I enjoyed painting for you and fucking philosophizing and talking a load of shit. Ugh. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. If you haven't paid for painting goo, pay for painting goo. I have no honor, and your ancestors will shame you from the great beyond and turn in their grave and show you their ass. Fart at you. I wonder what it'd sound like to hear the distant, faint, suppressed noise of somebody farting 6 feet underground in a coffin. Like, did you hear that? Fuck it. Be good, be true, be beautiful, and I will see you guys same time tomorrow. Defender Bear out.